fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at the DX Arc Galaxer from Ultraman Arc. I'm going with Galaxer. I mean, looking at the katakana, it's Galaxer. I've seen a couple places online just call it the DX Arc Galaxy. I definitely don't think that's right. So I'm going with Galaxer. That's what I'm going with. Feel free to roast me in the comments. But in any case, this is the weapon that accompanies Arc's final form of the Galaxy armor. You can load 3 cubes into it for varying attack sounds. Fun color scheme. I really like Galaxy's color scheme. Just the kind of, you know, fuchsia and purple and blue. Just all of that I think looks really, really cool. I like it very much. The Galaxy armor featured very prominently here on the left. Shows that you can shake this thing as well for different sounds, kind of like, you know, he's using it as a sword during battle, which is kind of neat. And then it shows you how you can load up to 3 cubes inside. Of course, we'll take a look at that. We do get 3 LR44 watch batteries already included, so you don't have to provide your own batteries, which is nice. I'm looking at you, Agent Knight from yesterday. We have the 3 cubes here, showing you what you can put in there. Honestly, you can use any cubes. It doesn't matter. We'll get to that later. And then it just kind of shows, you know, shaking it for sounds, hitting the button for sounds, all that good stuff. And more of that is just detailed here on the back. All the different functionality. We'll get into it. Then you got your QR code for the manual right there. So, pretty fun box. Very colorful. Very fun. I'm going to get everything out of there and we'll take a closer look. So here is the DX Arc Galaxer out of the packaging. It's kind of an awkward shape, I'll be honest. You have the large channel here to feed the cubes into. You have this large handle on the side. But I will say it's a nice large size handle. So I mean, my adult size hand fits in there no problem whatsoever, which is nice. But because I want to show you this side of it, because it's like the most detailed side and where you load in the cubes, it's weird. I guess I could try to do it with this hand. It's just awkward to hold on camera. We'll deal with it. In any case, I like the color scheme. You got the purple, you got the light blue, you got the kind of fuchsia, magenta, some shade of purpley pink. Either way, I like it. You got some nice kind of metallic pink here as well for kind of an accent color, which looks really sharp. Some nice metallic silver here. All of the blue is attained with just different colored plastic. I don't believe any of that is paint. Got your on and off switch here, which is nice because the watch batteries are included, but there's no like tab or anything. But because it has the on and off switch, very easy to control when it's making noise, which I always appreciate. But if you ever needed to replace the batteries, they would be this compartment here. You would just unscrew that. Panel comes off. Boom. Here's the release button for the cubes. We'll get there. Here is the speaker. This is kind of a softer, not super rubbery, but definitely softer plastic, I assume just for safety reasons. It's honestly a little more rubbery up here, but not terrible. It looks good. Like I said, I like the color scheme. I really like that little bit of the like magenta, hot pink, whatever you want to call that, the metallic paint there. Yeah, just overall looks pretty sharp. We'll go ahead and turn it on. So here's the on and off switch here. So unfortunately it doesn't say its name or anything like that. It could have solved the mystery. We do have this empty space here that I'm not really sure what that's for. It honestly might just be, you know, because you're going to be constantly loading and unloading things. So it's just like a, you know, to allow air to travel through so there's not like a weird suction or anything. Might just be looking out that way, make it a little bit easier to get them in and out. There is a little spot in here that gets depressed when you put cubes in. So there's not a reader in this thing. So honestly, it doesn't matter what 3 cubes you put in. If you use DX ones, they'll make their own noise while this is also making noise. If you use like Gashapon or Candy Toy ones, then that won't happen because they don't make their own noise. But basically this thing on its own with no cubes, you can swoosh it around. So you get a small handful of different sounds there. I want to say maybe 3, maybe it's 2. I don't know. They kind of sound similar. But in any case, you do get a couple of cool sounds there just swishing it around, you know, if you're just playing with it as a sword. If you hit the button here, it really just alternates between those two sounds. So I'm going to temporarily turn it off because otherwise the swooshing is very sensitive, we'll say. It's very easy to set it off if you don't mean to. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this on its own. You have the swooshing sounds, you have the trigger button sounds, just kind of alternating between those two. When we go to start loading cubes in, you're going to hold this down. It's going to start to do kind of a standby sound. Then we're going to load the cube in, slide it up. We'll get there in a moment. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this thing on its own without any kind of cubes or anything. And it doesn't come with any cubes unless you bought the specific Galaxy Armor and Galaxer 2-pack. They did bundle them together. But if you bought it on its own, it's literally just this by itself. Alright, so speaking of the Galaxy Armor Cube, took a look at this a few days ago. We'll go ahead and turn this back on and we'll start loading cubes in. So you want to hold this down. So there you go. There's your first attack sound. So the way this actually works is kind of neat. Let me bring this. You bring these back down to about here, and then you have to press this button here on the side. And that will allow you to take it off. So again, I got to turn it off because the swooshing sounds are nuts. So how this works, you can see that all the cubes have these kind of like track lines here. And so basically what you're doing, you have to make sure you put it in the right way, because if you put it in like this, then it's not going to go on the track lines, because then it's going to be perpendicular. So you want the speaker to be facing up, and then you want to make sure that the face, kind of the main section of the cube, is kind of facing towards like the front of this, if you're looking at it that way, because that way those two lines right there will fit on the track that is inside. So when you push this in, it connects onto the track, and then that's what allows you to slide it up, which is really nice. And then when you bring it back down, you press this button to push that little piece in so that you can slide past it and pop it out. If you do it the other way, it's not going to be able to go down furthest enough. Those are words. It's not going to be able to go down far enough. Just the easiest one. And then, yeah, so you have to make sure you do it. I guess technically you could do it this way, because the track would still line up. That's just the cube turning off. Don't mind it. There we go. So it just makes sense to kind of do it with the face pointing towards the front. If we're looking at this like this is the front, because of the little track system there. So now that that explanation is out of the way, we'll go ahead and bring in our other two cubes. So let's try this again. We'll turn this back on. So the attack sound is slightly different. We will go ahead. I'm going to have to turn this off again, because otherwise the swooshing is going to drive me nuts. So we'll take these all out. So I'll be honest, I'm sure to someone with a more sophisticated ear than I, those attack sounds sound completely different. They all kind of blend together. I have trouble, honestly, with Ultraman attack sounds and battle cries and things like that. After a while, they all kind of start to sound the same to me. But I'm assuming it was different. We'll go ahead and do all three of these now. Oh, you know what? This didn't work. All right, take two. There we go. You can hear that the standby music changes. So yeah, I could tell that that one was a little bit more significant than the other two. So I think that's kind of neat. You know, you can load up to 3 different cubes. There's different sounds for 1 cube, 2 cubes, 3 cubes. I think that's pretty neat. Of course, there's the sound effects from swooshing this thing around. They're a little too sensitive for my liking, which is a bit of a bummer. Because they just, I mean, anytime you try to handle this thing, if it's turned on, those swooshing sounds are kind of loud and obnoxious. I mean, they're neat when they happen when you want them to, but if you're just trying to handle the thing or move something around, it can be a bit much. So that's kind of a bummer. But for the most part, I think this thing is kind of cool. You know, is there a lot to it? Not really. It's pretty standard for Ultraman roleplay weapons. It has the functionality with the cubes, which is nice, but it's not a cube reader by any stretch. It's just pressing that little button there. Like I said, you can put any 3 cubes in there you wanted to. All the cubes are going to start turning off and being loud now, and that's fine. Sorry about that. But in any case, it's neat. There's number 2. Wait for number 3. So I really like the aesthetic of it. I think, you know, the paint applications are cool. The different color plastic used to attain this color scheme. I love the color scheme. I think it matches the Galaxy armor very well. You know, different sounds for... There we go. That's 3. That should be all of them. So I think it's cool that you can load in up to 3 cubes. You get a sound for 1 cube, an attack sound for 2 cubes, and an attack sound for 3 cubes. I think that's kind of neat. Getting the 2 different attack sounds by just pressing the trigger is fine. The swooshing sounds, again, I like them when I want them to happen. When I'm just trying to handle the thing, you have to turn it off because otherwise they're going to drive you nuts. But I feel like there's a decent amount of playability packed into this. I mean, if you think about it, there's like 2 or 3 sounds swooshing it, 2 sounds from the trigger, 3 sounds from the different cubes. You know, that's a significant amount of different, you know, playability or things you can do with this. So that's kind of neat. Now, is this something I think you're going to be coming back to all the time? No. It doesn't have a reader, so of course it's not going to be like, oh, every time I get a new cube, I have to get this out and see what happens. No, it doesn't do that, which... It's a shame, but I get it. I never really expected this to have a reader. It's not really how Ultraman toys work, so I totally get it. Is this something you need right away? That's going to be up to you. I mean, if you love it, by all means, I don't think you'll be disappointed. Could you wait for a sale? More than likely. If you want the cube right away, you can buy that on its own. If they were only sold as a pair, and you had to buy this to get the cube, then I could understand why you might need to jump the gun. But if you really just want the cube now, you can go buy the cube for like less than $10. And the cube's a lot of fun. The Galaxy Armor Cube. So I would say get the Galaxy Armor Cube right away because that's inexpensive and you can do stuff with that now. And then maybe wait for a sale for this because I do like it. I think it's neat. I just think it's going to be something that you know, mess around with for a day and then put down. And then maybe a month later you pick it up and go, oh yeah, this thing. And you mess around with it again for a little bit. It's not something you're going to be going back to over and over and over and over again. Just my opinion. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Are you thinking about getting this? Are you waiting for a sale? Does it not do enough to excite you? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, thank you so much for watching.